Present day. Present time.
Okay, we all know by now, I'm an old fart who loves anime and likes to overanalyze stuff. I mean, it's literally what the channel is based on. And, while cleaning up my house recently, I came across one of my favorite DVDs from 1998 that not only looks like a glitchy fever dream, it sounds like a philosophy major had too much coffee. And me saying somebody had too much coffee is a lot, because I drink 15 cups a day just to grade your guys' shitty waifu takes. I mean, look at this recent request of best waifus. Rim, Megumime, and Bochi? Man, F minus. I don't know why you thought I would accept that. Get that out of my class. Anyway, today, I think it's time we finally sit down and unpack Serial Experiments Lain and how it predicted our relationship with the internet better than anything else that I can imagine. Serial Experiments Lain isn't just that one weird anime your edgy friend wouldn't shut up about in high school. It's a prophetic deep dive into the digital age before the digital age ever fully existed. It asks questions like, what happens when your online self becomes more real than your physical self? What is the self when we live half of our lives online? Are we really connecting or just broadcasting into the void? And best of all, why is Lain just standing there in her bare onesie like that? Yeah, we're going there. So, for our lesson today, let's get logged into the wild, and let's sit down to discuss why this anime still slaps in the most existentially terrifying way possible. My favorite part of this job. Time to traumatize some kids. Class is now in session. Alright, for those of you who haven't been peer pressured into watching this at 2 a.m., Serial Experiments Lain is a 13-episode anime that looks cyberpunk, feels like an anxiety attack, and plays like a philosophy professor trying to DM you on Discord. To put this story in simple words, a quiet girl named Lain starts getting emails from a classmate who's literally dead. And things just spiral from there. She slowly gets pulled into the wire, a kind of proto-internet, and begins questioning her identity and reality and the meaning of existence itself. Kind of like when we start doom-scrolling YouTube shorts. Honestly, same. Have you been on Twitter? Visually, this anime looks like Windows 98 got haunted. Dialogues are slow, shots linger forever, and you're never quite sure what's real. But that's kind of the point. This show isn't here to hold your hand. It's here to drop you into the void and whisper, figure it out. But despite the mind melt vibes, Lain was way ahead of its time. It saw where we were headed long before we got there, and trust me, it isn't a fun place. That not so fun place is what the show refers to as the wild. In this show, it's the alternative digital realm. That's kind of like the modern day internet, but also kind of like a bad acid trip. And it also is kind of what your brain feels like after doom scrolling Twitter or TikTok for 3 hours. Kids, for the love of Hestia, please go outside and touch grass. I'll still be here. Just please take a break from the internet. And here's the wild part. The wired isn't just the internet. It's the idea of full digital conscious. Think all of your thoughts, your memories, your entire self floating around in the cloud like a cursed Google Drive folder. Yeah, Lain was talking about uploading your soul before Zuckerberg ever figured out how to ruin Thanksgiving dinners with Facebook arguments. And that's something I find interesting, as back in the late 90s, before 90% of you guys were born, we were still figuring out what the internet was. Like, you had to ask your mom or dad just to hang up the phone so you could check your email. And yet, here comes Lain in 98, casually dropping ideas about the collective consciousness, digital immortality, and the complete collapse of boundaries between the online and offline life of characters. Now, flash forward to today. We're online all the time. We text instead of talk. Hell, even our memes have lore. Like, seriously? You expect this old fart keep up with that? And let's be real, you probably have 5 different versions of yourself. One for Instagram, one for Discord, one for Twitter, one for your local group chat, one for lurking, and one that still thinks they're gonna finish that anime backlog and find the best wife. You're not. And that's Daijobu. And Lain saw all of this coming. She saw that one day we would be more real with ourselves online than in person. That we'd start living in a space where identity is fluid and performative and constantly being watched. Basically, the wired walk. So, Twitter could run and then trip over its own shoelaces and burst into flames. Ugh. Hestia's sake. That's like garbage. And as we watch the show, we witness Lain merge more and more with the wire and becoming something like a god, a server, that weird mutual friend who never posts anything but always likes your stories. Hard to say, but one thing's for sure. She's become something that exists entirely online. And if that doesn't sound like the modern YouTuber art, I don't know what does. So here's where things get really real. Lain doesn't just log on, she fractures. There's the shy schoolgirl Lain, the wired goddess Lain, emotionally detached Lain, and cryptic bear hoodie Lain. And honestly, she's kinda serving a different aesthetic for every mood. Yeah, bear hoodie Lain, clear S tier, no doubt about it. And that's what this show is really doing. It's asking, who are you when you're online? And more importantly, is that even the real you? Now, this is far from the first time I've made a reference to the study of the persona. I mean, last year I made a video about Bloom Into You and how it talks about personas hiding who we truly are to be perfect for those around us. But for those who don't know, a persona is the mask we present to those around. The way we act changes based on who we are with. We have parts of ourselves that we try to hide because we don't want others to find out about them. Now, let's think about your digital identity. You might be quiet in person, but online? Nah, you're dropping memes, deep quotes, anime takes, and maybe the occasional I'm fine post that's very much not fine. You're curating, performing. You're not lying, but you're definitely editing the vibe. And that's what Lain is going through. She's not just navigating the wire, she's dissolving into. Her real self becomes a big question mark. And her online self? Well, she's a legend, a mystery, a girl boss glitch in the system. Sound familiar? It's the same thing we do every day on social media. We polish ourselves, post the highlights, pick a persona, maybe even shift depending on the platform. Twitter, you're sarcastic. Discord, you're chill. TikTok, you're unhinged. LinkedIn, you pretend to care about synergy. Do people still use that site? I don't know. And that kind of leads to the main twist of the show. We see Lain lose track of who the original Lain even is. She becomes a reflection of what others think she is. And that's kind of a social media horror story, if you ask me. You start as yourself and end up as a brand. All of this leads to what I believe is the biggest problem with social media today: loneliness. Okay, students. Here's time for some actual teacher advice that I wish I would have given students a long time ago. The thing that nobody tells you when you first log on to the internet: being online all the time doesn't mean you're connected. Sometimes it just means you're alone but louder. And that's Lain's whole arc. As she gets deeper into the wire, she becomes more powerful, more present, and more connected, but also completely isolated. Her friends forget who she is. Her family stops acting like people. And her only real interactions are with strangers, voices, and the occasional evil hacker cult. Like Discord. And this, students, is what makes Lain hit different in the age of social media. It's not just about being online. It's about what we lose when we live there. We talk to people every day. Likes, comments, story replies, hearts. But when was the last time any of that made you feel actually seen? Sure, we get this dopamine drip from the interaction, but not the connection. This validation becomes a loop, and suddenly you're not even posting because you want to. You're posting because if you don't, you feel like you have disappeared. And look, I get it. This may sound a little hypocritical from a guy who makes YouTube videos about, well, anime. I mean, what? Last month I made a video about hot teachers, for fuck's sake. But that's not the point. On the internet and in real life, I am a teacher. It is my job to help guide my students to find the answers they seek. Does not matter what age you are, my job as a teacher is to always be there, always help with the problems that I can. And that's something that Lain shows us. As in the modern day, we're always on the internet. We're always thinking we are super connected to everyone around the world. And something that Lain shows us that even though we are on and in this hyper-connected world, it can actually make us feel more disconnected than ever, more lonely than ever. Because being online doesn't mean being present. It just means being available to strangers, to noise, to pressure, to everyone except yourself. Okay, let's take a breath and take a step back and look at what we've learned from Serial Experiments Lain. At its core, Lain is all about identity, the digital world, and the connection or lack thereof between people when we're living our lives online. And honestly, that message has only gotten more relevant with each passing year. From data collection and AI to parasocial relationships and the existential dread of living in a hyper-connected world, Lain predicted the digital age we are in now, where we are constantly logged in, constantly consuming, but still struggling to feel truly connected. And it's kind of funny, isn't it? We're all connected, but are we really seen? We're living in a world that Lain warned us about. We're losing our sense of identity in all the digital noise. But hey, we're also thriving in it because let's face it, this stuff is fun. Sites like Netflix and YouTube are so much better than cable. Even Lain found her own weird sense of power in The Wire. So in a way, we're all Lain. We live online. We navigate the algorithms. We curate our digital selves. And sometimes we wonder if we've forgotten who we were before we logged on. But that's the point. We don't have all the answers. Sometimes you just have to survive the ride. Next time you're scrolling through your feeds, let's think about Lain. Is she a god, a glitch, an algorithm, or just a girl who got lost in The Wire and maybe found herself again? Honestly though, Lain might be the only one who truly gets how weird this whole online thing really is. With that, we'll wrap up the lesson for today. Oh boy, my brain hurts from thinking this hard. Have a cute cat picture. Okay, that's better. Now, let me know what you guys think down in the hate lab below. Are we already living in The Wire? Can we come back? Or are we just overthinking things like Lain? And hey, while you're at it, remember to take a break from social media every once in a while. Go outside, touch grass, and for extra credit, I don't know, talk to at least 2 real people. Maybe even your family. I know, crazy idea, right? With all that said and done, as always, I'm Professor Play. Today's advice, let's remember to all love Lain. Class dismissed.